And good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday. That means it's time for You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with Tree McDougal and Tim Turner. Hope everybody's doing well this week. Hey man, summer's here. We are on the move. NBA Finals are over. We got baseball. 6 weeks to the start of NFL training camp. Got hockey tonight. Lots to talk about. Tree, Tim, how are you guys tonight?
I am doing great. I'm happy. Watched the game last night, and it was a good outcome. Yeah.
Okay. So we know Tree had money on the game last night, Tim. How about you?
Yes, she did. My gentleman's sweep was it came to fruition thanks to some really lackluster play by some of the stars on the Heat. So I expected Denver to win in 5, but I was kind of surprised that the people who didn't show up didn't show up. Yeah.
Yeah, the Heat. I mean, as they used to say when Tiger was in his prime, this is not a fair fight. I mean, they were just a superior team, and Miami did well for 8 seed, but I don't know what they could do besides make every shot like Villanova did for 4 games, like Villanova did against Georgetown back in the day for 4 games to beat Denver. They were just a better team. I was looking at Denver's bench, guys, and Reggie Jackson barely got playing time. And I'm thinking if he's on the Heat squad, not only is he getting major minutes, he might be starting. And he's coming off the bench, not even getting playing time for Denver.
Right. Denver had an interesting bench. I couldn't think of the guy last night that came in and played a couple of minutes late because I got him confused with Pat Beverly. But was it Crowder? It wasn't Crowder. Who was the guy who used to play for the Clippers? And he came in and played his first games in the playoffs last night.
For Denver?
For Denver, yeah. And pardon me?
DeAndre, you talking about the center, DeAndre Jordan?
DeAndre Jordan. I'm just thinking I get confused with Crowder. I'm like, I saw him sitting on the bench. I was like, he's on the team? Because he hadn't played any during the playoffs. Yeah. And then, when Jokic got in a little bit of foul trouble, he comes out there and he gives him some quality minutes. And see, that was the deal. You go back to game 4. Jokic had, 3 or 4 fouls early in the game. And that was the time for Miami to make their run. And they did not. Denver showed that they're a team. They withstood their run. And that's why, in part, why they have a championship right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, or as the Joker said, the job is done. We can go home now. So yeah, it was great. I really didn't think I was sure that they were going to win.
Hold on, Tree, because you're exactly right. He literally said that.
And now you are an NBA champion, Nicola. How does that feel?
It's good. It's good. The job is done. We can go home now.
I love that, Tree. That's my new motto.
I'm going to use that for everything.
Job is done.
The job is done. We can go home.
We can go home now. Yeah. I mean, what an extraordinary player he is, guys.
Absolutely. It was it was a pity MVP award for Embiid this year. And as you can see, who the MVP of the league probably should have been for a 3rd straight year. Also, there's a picture
Embiid's a great player.
He's a great player, but what were they doing? Weren't they
watching? I agree. Right. I wouldn't say pity though, but I get what you're saying because Jokic is the guy.
He makes everybody better. Jokic. I don't see where Embiid does anything but beyond him, having great games and carrying the team. He carries the team, but Jokic makes his entire team better. I think there's a distinction in that. So I I think that it's really interesting to see. Like I said, there's one photo online this year. I mean, this I saw today, as a matter of fact, when the coaches picked the All-Star teams, and he was the last player chosen for whatever team he played for. He was the last NBA player between LeBron and who was the other captain? Was it Durant? And
Joker was the last player.
Jokic was the last player chosen. You know, they have two NBA, two teams of captains, like Team Durant, Team James.
Could have been Steph. Probably no, because Steph is in the West too, right?
Right. It was.
No, but they don't do that anymore.
Well, it was this year was Durant and James, and they had all the other All-Stars together, and each guy would take a turn picking somebody. And Jokic was the last player taken. I'm like, oh man. So, you know, you see him sitting over there by his lonesome.
You know, he was also drafted.
But you know what?
No, go ahead, Tree.
Go ahead, Tree.
No, I was just going to say he was also drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. So,
yes,
you know, when he was drafted, it's in a Taco Bell commercial. I think he was, yeah. So, you know, I think that he was underrated, but, you know, he's amazing.
The 41st player pick. My buddy Paul Mokeski, who was drafted by the Bucks, was the 42nd player pick when he went. And if you watch Jokic, I mean, if you just watch him walk in the gym, man, and we were at the Y, yeah, he's a big dude, but I'm picking him last because I don't think he can get across the half-court line without tripping. But he's a highly skilled player. And you guys remember last week, or it could have been a couple of weeks ago, when we had former New Jersey Nets guard Derek Gervin on. He talked about the development of the foreign players. Derek played 18 years overseas, and he saw this coming because these guys start young. I think Doncic turned pro at like 16.
Right, 16 and 17-year-olds. Like Luka has been playing with grown men since he was, you know, starting to shave.
Yeah, and they are taught the fundamentals from the very beginning, and the fundamentals are really stressed in European basketball, especially at the developmental levels, and we see the fruition of this.
Well, yeah, because these guys, I mean, they're not afraid to play. They're not afraid of the competition. They're right up there in it, and they go at it. I didn't see anybody back down. Luka, his issue may be, you know, because he came into the league as a star like that, he really is a kind of like a ball hog there in Dallas. As you can see why he and Kyrie didn't work out. But you can see the skill level of these guys over there, and they develop over here. I think that's going to be the same with the Wembanyama. I think that's his name in San Antonio.
Yeah,
he's going to have to get bigger, but I think he'll, you know, I understand Duncan and Robinson are going to help tutor him. So that should be an interesting thing there because those guys, it took a while for them to develop as well.
Yeah,
that was just some incredible playoff.
And you know, Jimmy Butler's been catching a lot of heat. You know, he had some comments about the Hall of Fame or whatever, and I think this just shows he's a really good player. He's just not I wouldn't consider him a top 5 player in the league. I mean, he has his moments. I would love to have him on my team, as one of my guys, but you know, to try to carry that team was against that team. And Tree, the Nuggets were so much bigger than them too, because you know we all think about the 3-pointer now, and you know Golden State with their great guard play with Steph and Clay, but Joker's 7 foot, whatever. Porter 6'10", Gordon 6'9", 6'10". That was a big team. And Bam was really their biggest guy at 6'9", 6'10". And that was a problem too.
Yeah. But you know what? I was a little bit worried close to the end, but then I wasn't sure they were going to pull it out, but then luckily, Jimmy Butler played well in the fourth quarter, but then he had that turnover late in the game, and so I think that it is but also Jamal Murray, his story is really great too. His comeback, and so a lot of focus is on the Joker, but don't forget Murray's contribution.
That is such a great point, Steve.
Yeah.
That is such a great point. This guy had 2 ACLs?
Right. I mean, he missed the last 2 postseason runs that they had. So him to come back, you see him up there crying on the podium, and you get overwhelmed because you could just think about the hours of work he had put in to get himself back in position to be a viable contributor to the Nuggets. So you get excited about that and seeing a story like that come full circle there. I mean, there's so many great ones out there. I'm thinking about what's his boy, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Tree was talking about the turnover, and I think he stripped Butler one time, and he helped Butler go. I think Butler was 2 for 10 last night, which was in a championship game. That's your effort. Plus, was a near air ball in the game on the shot that he took. I mean, they didn't need a 3 at that point, but people get excited. All they did, they could have gotten a 2 and then foul somebody. But
he was 5 of 18 for the game. 5 of 18 for the game, and got the Nuggets out rebounded them 57-44.
Right.
I mean,
that's just want to right there, because I'm like, you said 57-44. I think Bam had like 22 on his own. I mean, he was a dog out there.
Yeah.
So as much as he looked like garbage early in the playoffs, because I was thinking the moment was too big for him. He was the guy that stepped up. You cannot talk about Bam Adebayo in this series, but you sure can talk about Jimmy Butler. I saw a bunch of stuff on Twitter with Jimmy Butler today. People were having their way with him.
Oh, brutal.
And rightfully so.
I had no problem with it. Those guys were, if I'm a Heat fan, I'm like, okay, we got to the finals. Damn, now if I'm a Celtics fan, I am pissed.
Right.
What are you trying to say?
Anybody who got beat by the Heat, you're mad.
Yeah. Even Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee would have been a better matchup because of Milwaukee's size.
Right.
With Lopez and Giannis and Portis. Yeah, but Giannis missed 2 games there and didn't play well in a couple of games too. I don't think that was. Of course, you want your best player there, but they still should have beat Miami.
Now, I'm asking this about long term. Do you sacrifice the long term for the near term? And I'm saying this in regards to. I was looking at pregame and it looked like Tyler Hero looked like he was good to go for last night, but they said that he wasn't given medical clearance. I'm like, what are you saving him for? The fishing trip next week? Yeah. I mean, you got time to heal as is, but he didn't play. So you're wondering if the team was like, look, you know what? We're not going to pull this out. Just go ahead and sit down over here.
Yeah. I think they kind of knew, man. Hey.
Well, he was more severely injured than they let on, because a lot of times you find out after the fact that so-and-so had had 3 tendons torn in his shoulder and that kind of stuff, and you don't know about that until they're getting surgery in midsummer.
It's a bridge too far. Hey, we could have another championship settled tonight, and right now the Knights are leading the Florida Panthers 2-0.
Are you kidding me? It's over.
The
Knights are great. In 6 years, from an expansion club to playing for the Stanley Cup in their first season, then 6 years later, winning the title, and it's going to be another dour night for the people of South Florida, with the Florida Panthers in Fort Lauderdale. So
I'm kind of boycotting Florida, but I'm okay with that.
But guys, look at Vegas, and they're about to get the A's.
Right.
They got the Raiders. They have a hockey team's about to be world champs.
Yeah.
And they're building a new arena, and the NBA is coming there. But, 15 years ago, you wouldn't dare do anything in Vegas because of gambling.
Oh, yeah. Now you got people who these teams or these sports networks are partnering with people like FanDuel and all these other.
Yeah.
Before you would think.
They don't care about that now.
What's that?
I was saying they don't care about that now. Everybody's all in on the gambling.
No.
I heard something last night about it's like talking about the odds of Denver winning and how it was so lopsided. They said you'd have to pay $600 to win $100, and for them to say that on a broadcast,
right,
essentially promoting that, you're going, this is crazy talk from days gone by. And you can look at those NFL players sitting there who've been suspended for gambling, and they're shaking their heads like, these people are promoting it.
Yeah, that is.
So how much did you win, Tim?
I won several. No. I don't bet on
share. You gonna share?
I only bet on the horses. I don't do anything else.
That sounds like a no.
That's a no, because I didn't win. I would share gladly with y'all.
Oh, okay. All right. Just checking.
If I win tonight, I'm going to share with y'all too.
All right. We've got it on record now. So, yes.
Yeah. So, it was a great playoff. There's a letdown now because there's no more basketball. And,
That's the WNBA. And speaking of Vegas, defending champs.
Yeah, the Aces are defending champs, but then you speak of the WNBA, you want to try to pivot to the Brittany Griner thing.
Yes, and I was just trying to download this clip on regarding Brittany, who was the police just released a report on. She was at Dallas Fort Worth, and they're calling an inappropriate and unfortunate incident.
That's a nice way to say it.
According to a police report obtained by ESPN, the man who approached Griner was Alex Stein, a conservative media personality. Stein allegedly pushed a Mercury security guard who was standing between him and Griner. Griner waited behind a gate until officers arrived at their terminal. The security guard said Stein seemed aggressive and made some inappropriate comments. Stein did not get physical with Griner, and the security guard did not press charges with him. Shortly after the incident, Mercury forward Breonna Turner tweeted about the situation, saying people with cameras are following with cameras and making wild remarks. You would think that this sister has seen enough in the last year, considering everything she's had to deal with, just trying to make a living.
Probably just attention grabbers.
Yeah, and I think
just trying to get attention.
Well, yeah, this dude right here, Rick had to say who he was, right? It's like if he's a right-wing pundit of some sort, he is one of no name.
Yeah, you know what? You're right.
This
is make a name.
Going to the Brittany Griner and see if somebody punched him out or something like that. It'd been, all kinds of
that's what he wanted.
Things cast his way. I saw some stories saying now this were a league that were predominated by blonde, blue-eyed people. And this would have been far more aggressively handled in terms of responding to this whole thing. But because it's not, and the WNBA is not, they pretty much have been kind of slow with this. I guess they wanted to give the authorities their chance to do what they were going to do before they made a move. But it seems like, these lesser leagues, they have to deal with that because they fly coach. And as opposed to the major league teams who all fly charters.
Yeah, and there's.
I think they were going to start doing charter flight.
Well, yeah, I think going into the next season, I'm thinking, but not now. They're not doing it.
Let's see.
But she travels with security, right?
Yeah.
See, there's a dispute with Phoenix and the WNBA over whether charter flights were approved for this season. Apparently, the Phoenix team wants to use charter flights, and the WNBA is not willing to let them do it because they say it's a competitive advantage. And then, hold on. We informed the Phoenix Mercury earlier this year to move ahead with any arrangements they felt were appropriate and needed, including charter flights. However, a person with the Mercury said the league didn't approve charter flights for Griner for the entire 23 season. So this whole thing is up in the air. But Tree and Tim, this goes to show you how the WNBA is treated. I mean, and granted, they don't generate the money of the NBA, but they are part of that, professional league.
No, but shouldn't they try to protect the players?
Absolutely, and they should have charter flights.
They should.
They should make more money.
Let anybody have them.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just let anybody have them. I was just saying, let anybody have any team.
Yeah, in fact, the Liberty used charter flights last year and paid a fine of $500,000. They felt it was worth it for them.
It's got to be worth it if you want to protect your players. But it's like if you're not a major team, you're going to fly coach, and you're going to have to deal with hassles of passengers and these other things. They don't get any special seats.
Right.
I don't know if they fly first class. If they do fly coach, do they fly first class? These are some tall people, big people. How can you accommodate them? I don't think comfort class is going to be good enough. So you wonder how that happens. But at the same time, Mike Tyson said something not too long ago, which is so true. And here I am quoting Mike Tyson. He's talking about how social media has made people far too comfortable with disrespecting people.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
yeah,
these are people who've been emboldened by the foolishness they see online or whatever, and they bring it into real life. And somebody's gonna get beat down, and then it's gonna be on that person is the victim because they got beat down for disrespecting somebody.
Somebody has gotten beat down. You see plenty of those already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that is true, Mike. Hey, well said, Mike Tyson. Hey, a couple more NBA notes before we get out of here. But final thing on the finals. Denver's pretty young team. I think Joker maybe 26, 27. Murray's still a young player. So you got your two mainstays right there. Are the Nuggets a dynasty on the rise?
I'm gonna say no.
Whoa.
I got more competitive years ahead. I don't know if I would say dynasty yet. Yeah, I'm gonna say no, not yet.
I want to kind of agree with her on that because the West is a far tougher conference than the East. I mean, San Antonio probably will be back. Phoenix, even without Chris Paul or whatever they're going to do with Chris Paul, is going to be back. It's always the Lakers and LeBron. Sacramento was great this year, and it's like an afterthought. The Golden State Warriors and OKC made the playoffs last year. I mean, it is really a crapshoot in the West, and I'm even thinking about Dallas because I think they've lost their way. But these other teams, I mean, they're going to be back. They're going to be, depending on what they do with next Thursday night's draft or trades that happen in the meantime. But the West is much tougher than the East, so it's not. Denver's head and shoulders right now above everybody else, but they still got a lot of bodies to go.
Yeah, funny you didn't funny you didn't mention, neither one of you guys mentioned Memphis, who finished second in the standings this year with 51 wins. And I think I know why neither one of you mentioned Memphis, because of John Morant's situation.
Well, yeah, I wonder how long the commissioner's going to let this afterglow of the championship go before he says, yeah, press conference at 1 p.m. in the NBA office. He's going to get half a season gone or something like that. And I understand his family's putting out there that, or I think some story was that somebody, a family member, somebody said that the gun he was waving around was a toy gun. It wasn't a real one. You know,
who carries a toy gun what adult carries a toy gun?
Yes.
Dude, come on, man.
It's like, okay, so does that make it better? I'm even more immature than people thought I was.
I thought
Does it blow bubbles? What?
Yeah, really.
I thought 45 was coming up with some lame excuses.
Right.
I mean, this is right along with 45.
And then I think some rapper came out and told him, it's like, look, dude, you need to quit trying to perpetrate this life, and you're not a rapper.
Cameron, yes.
Right, Cameron giving
and I like his songs. I don't know what Josh got. Yeah, I don't know.
Josh got.
Oh boy,
I'm throwing away my career. That's his favorite hit right there. I'm throwing away. That's his rap.
Sharon is checking in and saying, I agree with that. What point was that you were agreeing with, Sharon? Let us know, and I'll put it up on the screen. I'm sure she's agreeing with something Tree said. That was,
of course,
maybe it could be something anybody said, but yeah, I don't know, but I do. I think it was Cameron who had that video of him talking. It was a picture, I think, about when he lost his career got derailed trying to be something different, and so I think cautionary tale. I don't know if it's too late. The Tyson quote.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But cautionary tale to Ja. But I think there've been lots of cautionary tales that people have been trying to hopefully help them. But we'll see. Do you think it'll happen before the draft or after?
It'll probably happen after, because the draft is like a selling point. It's like the NFL. Everybody else gets all hyped about the draft. And
NBA, what day? Let me check.
Next Thursday night.
Thursday.
Next Thursday night.
Yeah, it'll be after.
And it's only one night, right? It's only 2 rounds. So.
Yeah, June 22nd.
Yeah. Don't sleep on the commercials because you might miss somebody.
Right, for real. Some great future Hall of Famer is going to be up there somewhere with Taco Bell commercial.
Watch them all. Watch them all get drafted. They deserve their time.
That Ja is even contemplating. I didn't know he was in the rap game, and I just think that this is crazy when people don't stay in their lane. Him doing something like this reminds me of Eddie Murphy and Party All the Time. Dion with It Must Be the Money. Bruce Willis, Respect Yourself. I mean, my goodness, it goes on and on. These people who just foray into these other avenues.
I don't know about staying in your lane. That seems kind of harsh, but if they've got the talent for it, okay. The ones you mentioned, perhaps they did not have talent for that, but I'm just saying, I don't think you can make a blanket statement. Well, they just need to stay in their lane. Oh,
okay.
I'm always.
I'll allow it. Eddie Murphy had a horrible song.
So did Reby, but
Centipede. Do not dog Centipede.
I'm dogging Centipede.
Oh my gosh, what an awful song.
There's a show Eddie Murphy pulled Tina Turner up, and they both he tried to get her to sing his song. And
saw that.
She essentially was dancing to it. She was not putting her voice to that madness.
Really? Of course, you can always let's see here. Oh well, I can't find it, so.
But
never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Josh got a lot more things.
Nicola, how does that feel?
It's good. It's good. The job is done. We can go home now.
Okay. And
We should play that at the end of every show.
any situation, that's the one.
So we close it out every week. We're not ready yet to close it out, though.
Well, you mentioned some of the challengers. Kyrie's trying to. Now, I don't know if he's trying to get LeBron to Dallas or LeBron's trying to get him to L.A. Either way, I don't think that would be enough to beat Denver at LeBron's advanced age, as good as he still is.
Right. But this mega team model is garbage now. Denver just showed that. Denver is the model. You got one incredibly talented dude with a bunch of really good supporting people.
Yep.
And everybody pretty much knows their role and plays their role. Nobody tries to get outside that.
Yep.
And so I didn't hear anything about egos. Nobody jumped on Michael Porter for stinking it up the last 3 games, because somebody was always there to pick up the slack. Miami did not have that luxury. Yeah. And that's why they lost. Yeah. Because they weren't, Robinson could only shoot so many shots. I would think that I look at Bam. I look at,
Kentavious?
No. For Miami.
Oh.
Who came in and off the bench every night?
Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, Kyle Lowry. Those two were they were reliable every single night. Every night they came in.
I love Kyle Lowry. This is his 17th season.
I don't believe that. He doesn't. He still looks like a little kid is about to get into trouble.
How are you gonna make this? He would Joker at the Y. Joker would be the second to last pick because Lowry would be the last pick.
Oh yeah, for real.
That's why 17 years, man. But
you talking about now? That's old, but they had Udonis Haslem on the bench for Miami, and they showed a teammate of his who was 22 years old. He was born the year that Udonis started playing in the league. So you look at that, it's like this dude's been out there forever.
Was he on the Florida team?
I think he was.
I think he was on the Florida team that lost
he might have played with Donovan. I don't know.
Do you give the coach any credit?
For who? For what? What team?
The Nuggets.
Mike Malone.
Yeah, I give him credit because he knew how to motivate those guys at those timeouts. You would hear him, and you go and that's somebody who has a real strong relationship with his players because it wasn't an easy listen to have him talk to them that way. Mm-hmm. Whereas you see other NBA timeouts, you see players over there drinking water, looking up in the stands, trying to catch the t-shirts from the t-shirt cannon. These guys were locked in on what Malone was saying.
You talk about motivation. I like that Caldwell Pope brought his championship ring to the team to motivate them. I thought that was a nice touch. And
he's the only one on the team that had one. So,
but that's true. So, but whatever works to help motivate people, let them all touch it. And so,
Udonis Haslem played in the 2000 NCAA championship game.
So that's 23 years ago.
And he graduated. His final season was 2001 to 2002 season.
Man,
from Miami, Florida. Wow, what a career! I mean,
absolutely. I mean, this is it for him. But you take his head off to him. Nobody plays that long except for Vince Carter played in 4 decades. 80s, 90s, the thousands, and the tens, or something to that effect.
Well, I'm sure Haslam will go straight to the front office in some capacity.
Oh, absolutely.
For the Heat. Hey, there's some other stuff we wanted to get to. We do have some coaching news, though. Adrian Griffin is a former Toronto Raptors assistant, is the new man in Milwaukee, and his former coach Nick Nurse is now in Philly. And today here in Detroit, Monty Williams was introduced as the new coach of the Pistons. Frank Vogel is now in Phoenix, and Ime Udoka, he was hired a couple of weeks ago, is in
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah.
Houston Rockets. Yeah.
And the Raptors, Darko Rajovic. Boy, anytime you hear the word Darko around Detroit, people kind of
really.
Right?
Who do you guys pass on for Darko?
Carmelo Anthony, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. We had the second pick.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. All those cats.
And nobody.
Milicic is the man.
Yeah, and Miller's got a ring. He was on that championship team.
Okay. Darko.
Yeah.
When you get that,
I saw Monty paid his contract, Monty Williams. His
he's getting paid
6 years, $78.5 million, which is the largest coaching deal in NBA history. That's a nice chunk of change.
Yeah, go to up
Could
to
get
$100 million. The guy gave. Tell you what, he gives a great press conference.
He's a solid dude.
Yeah, he was great today, and the whole Piston team was there today. I mean, but you know, man, you gotta be tough. You gotta be a trooper.
The 3-2 swung on, a pop foul back here. Ow! Ow! Ow!
That's tough.
It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far. So once again, it'll be a 3-2. And Holmes ready to deal. A ground ball to third. Donaldson squares, throws to first in time. Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win. You know that
was Tim Turner's good friend John Sterling being a trooper.
He is tough.
Taking one for the team.
Kept on going.
Oh,
taking one for the team, literally.
You look at that, you go like, dude, he didn't cry, didn't whine, anything. It'd be like, okay, I'm done. This microphone is empty right now.
There's no crying in baseball, though, right? Right, Tim?
There's no crying.
There's no crying in baseball.
You get touched in the head like that.
I mean,
actually hit me. It kind of
kept it going.
Rick,
now the 3-2 swung on, a pop foul back here. Ow! Ow!
Every time I see it, I cringe.
It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far. So once again, it'll be a 3.
If you watch his eyes now, he's looking for it. He's following.
Yeah, and you see he has glasses on, and then the glasses get knocked off, and he's still calling the game with his glasses off.
3-2 swung on, a pop foul back here. Ow! 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 It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far. So once again, it'll.
Yeah, he goes, keep working with no glasses. There was a reason you had him on before, John. No.
It's
It might have helped. It might have deflected the ball. Might have hit the frames. Might have helped.
Yeah,
I don't know.
True. And then knocked him off. Then again, too, it probably improved his vision. It probably those Gilligan Island plots. You get hit in the head and you start seeing things.
And he was a good sport about the whole thing. I got it.
Oh yeah, he was.
The only real bad thing about that clip was the Yankees won the damn game.
True enough. Yes. I guess the other baseball note, you got all-star voting going on right now, and I think finally this guy's getting evidently national recognition. Where you got Ronald Acuna Jr., the right fielder for Atlanta, is the leading vote getter in all of baseball, which surprised me because I would think Ohtani would be the guy for all of baseball.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
He has the name. He has a recognition. He's worldwide, and Acuna isn't. And so I just thought that would be the case. I've tried to get tickets. The Angels come here in 2 weeks, and it pretty much is a near sellout. If I want, I can watch it better from my house than I would from the seats that are available. But I'm gonna still try to
be in the atmosphere.
I said I want to still try to be in there to see what's going on.
Plus, if you're far enough away, you're less likely to get hit in the face with a ball, right?
This is true. But I pay attention though. I pay attention. I
Hey,
know.
hey, I'm sorry, Tim. Go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say 4-1 Vegas.
4-1.
Yep.
Second period.
Second period. Yeah.
Okay, have they pulled the goalie yet for the old Panthers? Because they had to pull him the other time. They're shot. They're just totally shot.
Hey, but going back to, did the Braves do something in terms of promoting him?
They've been running all these commercials and stuff about all the players. They run, it's like a cartoon thing where they promoting Acuna, Albies, I think the shortstop, I think the entire infield plus Acuna, and Murph in the catcher. The catcher, I think, is leading at the position as catcher in the All-Star voting too, but Acuna has it overall. And so that's a big deal because he's just really a year and a half removed from major knee surgery. He wasn't even part of the World Series team.
Yeah.
Last year he still didn't have his legs under him, and he looked really crappy. And you thought he pretty much was done. This year, they're talking about him being a 40 home run, 60 steal guy, and that's a rarefied air to be put in. So and that's interesting on that. But of course, Ohtani leads all American League people because he's just the second coming of Babe Ruth. Although people don't want to, have their heroes obliterated like that.
Yeah, he's a great player. And it takes a minute, even with all the technology now, when those guys come back from those ACLs, it's still, some guys are still productive, but it's really, unless you are Adrian Peterson, who ran like a crazy man less than a year after he tore his knee up, it's going to take you a little more time to get back.
It all depends on, I guess, on genetics too, because it's like you have people that will develop arthritis in the knee after a surgery like that. There's some people who have scar tissue that won't, allow them to be their old selves. And really, running backs, having like a workhorse running back, is devalued these days. You got to have 2 or 3 of them for these offenses they have now, even when people passing the way they are.
Hey, now tell me this, guys. Did anybody watch Shannon Sharp's last show today?
I didn't know it was. He said he was going to leave shortly after the NBA Finals, and I did not think he meant literally shortly after the
Did you watch it?
Did not watch it at all.
I didn't watch.
But I just have seen some clips of him in his Terry farewell. But
why is he leaving? I forgot why is he leaving.
He didn't say why, but the prevailing thought is, I'm tired of Skip.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I ever watched one whole show. I'm just not I guess I'm old school, man.
I'm not a Shout Fest fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I totally agree because we do our own little talk show here. I mean, I don't want to be critical of others. It's just not for me.
Right. No mockery.
Well, there's debate. There's genuine debate. There's contrived debate. There's over the top, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah debate type stuff. And that catches eyeballs, evidently, because there are people being paid handsomely to scream and yell at each other. Guy comes to mind is Mad Dog Russo guy. And his nickname is Mad Dog is because he always is hyperventilating about something.
Yeah, you're not right. You're not mad about that much that often, right?
I hate strawberry ice cream. Come on.
Are you gonna take on that persona now?
No, not that. Not at all.
Vicky, the Tennessee Vols are going to win the college baseball World Series.
Oh, you got Tennessee because I think you have some sherbet in your blood, sir.
Yes, I do.
I think I'm going to go with Oral Roberts.
She likes the Demon Deacons to take it all.
Oh yeah, Wakehead was really good getting in there.
Man, I tell you what, it has been some really great games. I don't know how much people have been watching.
I watched the highlights, and I watched the highlights of how Texas lost to Stanford last night.
I heard about that. Tell us about that one, Tim.
So Texas had the lead, and I think it was I think they were coming out to the last couple last out or so for Stanford, and the dude hit a pop fly in no man's land between two outfielders and a infielder, and nobody saw the ball, and it fell in between all three of them. And Stanford players rounded the bases, and they won the game, and they advanced to Omaha to the World Series. That is a helpless feeling when you hear the ball off the bat and you can't find it.
Wow. What were the conditions? I'm actually trying to find this tape right quick.
They weren't bad the conditions. It probably was just however the lighting was in that stadium. And, you could say what you want about that. It does make a difference, which is partially the reason the Braves used to move to Truist Park. That stadium they played in, Turner Field, was retrofitted back from the '96 Olympics, and all they had was, I think, lights around the crown. They didn't have lights in the outfield. However it was, they had really bad shadows at night in that stadium, whereas the new ballpark is brilliantly lit. And it depends on where you play. I've been to some minor league ballparks where you get a better light opening the door to your car than you would trying to play ball out there. It's really just dreadful stuff. You have to be careful. So it looked like they had, you could see from the press box, whatever the camera it is, looking into the outfield, you could see that those guys were in trouble. So that's just a hard way to lose a ball game.
Yeah, I can't find.
So Texas and Stanford in the whatever super regional they were in.
We got Oral Roberts and Oral Roberts, TCU, Florida, Virginia, and bracket 1, Stanford, Wake Forest, Tennessee, and LSU in bracket 2, 3 SEC teams.
Yeah, as usual.
Yeah, I'm a SEC guy here in Big Ten country, so I get that. Let's see, no Big Ten teams? Nope. Gosh, you know what? We are running out of time, and next week I do want to kind of get into what's going on with the Big Ten. With they're coming out with the schedules and whatnot now, and because you got Southern Cal and UCLA coming into the Big Ten.
Yes, two big Midwest powerhouses.
Yeah. There's some controversy about the travel arrangements. And now, because you got these other members coming in, teams are going to have to give up some of their traditional games. Like I think Michigan and Minnesota play for the
Michigan and Minnesota?
Yeah, Michigan, University of Michigan and Minnesota, they play, and it's a game where you get one of these trophies.
Yeah, like the Oaken Bucket and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I can't think of the name of it right now. And that's been a good rivalry between those two schools. Now, most teams are keeping their traditional rivalries. Of course, Michigan, Ohio State,
right?
Michigan State. They're not going to do away with that. But, because you got these other teams coming in, you're going to have to give something up. And who knows, maybe they will these guys will create good money. Because, you think about it, USC, Ohio State, that's a good matchup.
Yeah. But I think, what is it? They're going to have to play those teams out the back. Oh, UCLA and USC will play the top tier football programs there. And I think that same issue was with the SEC. They're going to keep an 8 games schedule. And I think they said they're going to eliminate East versus West conferences and just have one thing, I guess, where the top 2 teams play for the title. But, the same way with the geographically challenged there, they already had Texas A&M in there. So now they're adding Texas and Oklahoma to the Southeastern Conference, which is, if your kids are trying to learn geography from football conferences, they're going to flunk classes. So it's just that simple. Back in my day, when I was a little man, it was a Southwest Conference. Everybody in Texas played one conference, plus Oklahoma. That was it.
I was going to be the back in my day girl.
Okay.
But no, you go ahead. Yeah,
No,
when people start switching conferences, it's hard for me to like. Okay, so yeah.
Who is
Hey,
what?
don't feel bad about that because there's a lot of people are not going to understand this.
How's Maryland in the Big Ten? How is that happening? I mean, they're in the Atlantic Coast Conference. You would think of that, but no longer. That's no longer the case. So it's a challenge. These people are going to keep the traditional rivals.
Vicky talking about the Black College Hall of Fame, and we need to do more on that. That's something we can get to next week. And let me just give these guys a shout out. John Walton from Elizabeth City. He was a quarterback at Elizabeth City State. Leslie Frazier, Alcorn State. We all know him from his days as a cornerback with the Chicago Bears and one of the better defensive coordinators. Henry Lawrence from FAMU. Albert Lewis, Grambling State. Jim Marcellus, cornerback from Tennessee State, was part of the Super Bowl championship Kansas City team and that beat the Vikings. Was that 69-70? He was a great corner when they did the bump and run. He was one of those kind of guys. Tyrone McGriff, outstanding offensive lineman from FAMU. Mm-hmm. Elijah Pitts, former Green Bay Packer from Philander Smith, and Pete Richardson from Southern University. Tim, you probably covered Pete some, didn't you?
Yeah, Pete was he was in the SWAC at the time, but W.C. Gordon was at Jackson State and Caston Caston came after Pete, I believe. Caston was down at Alcorn. So, yeah, he had some really strong teams there in Southern. You always look at Jackson State's toughest teams during the season. It wasn't so much Grambling. They were on their way down, but it was Southern and Alcorn. And Richardson had his teams prepared every time Jackson State played. They were outstanding. And it didn't hurt to have people like Aeneas Williams in your secondary for Southern, who's not, a Pro Football Hall of Famer right now. So hats off to those cats, especially. And, I think this is Leslie Frazier this year is taking the year off. As you know, he was the defensive coordinator for Buffalo. And I think everybody tried to pin their losses last year and them not making the Super Bowl on Leslie Frazier. He's an outstanding coach. And he just taking a step back this year, and he wants to go back into coaching next year. But this is a great honor for him.
And Vicky is saying, "Hey, I ain't Vicky. I'm Tim. I'm Vicky's husband. What's up,
That's
Tim?
her husband.
We appreciate you checking in, brother. And you're right.
Yeah.
Pete coached at Winston-Salem State and did a great job there because they used to kick our butts at Virginia Union back in the day.
But who didn't, Ricky?
Oh, I know who's not. I know who's not in September.
We will see.
Yes,
we will see that first game of the season.
Is that what we're doing now? We're doing this?
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing about that.
Hey, but we got to give a shout out to Shaq Harris and Doug Williams.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What they've done with the what they've done to create the Black College Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean it was housed here in Atlanta for the first couple of years, and they had the banquet this past weekend here in Atlanta for the induction ceremony. But it's right there in Canton, and again that they'll have the college game up there this year will be Morehouse College, and I'm trying to think of this other team.
The mighty Virginia Union Panthers.
Virginia Union and Morehouse will be playing in that game up there in Canton up there in September, I believe. And
we can't. I will be remiss if I don't mention our late friend, the great Roscoe Nance,
right?
For his last year and help and put this whole thing together.
He was a big proponent. Roscoe was a guy that really. His ideas ahead of his time in regards to, he's always preached this, and I'm more and more buy into it now. whereas HBCUs have really nothing to gain by continually wanting to be part of the NCAA.
Yeah.
And if they were to do their own thing, pull all those conferences together, it would probably be just as lucrative and just as exciting. And you would think that it'll be programming for some other networks, because you see today, the big news story on television is Tyler Perry has bought VH1 and BET.
Dang, I did not know that.
So, back in the day, those Saturday games, HBCU games on BET were appointment watching. That and video sold. But were the two
don't forget Rap City now. Don't forget Rap City, Tree.
Well, back in the day, I couldn't get BET when I lived in North Carolina, where I lived.
What?
I asked about it, and they were like, "Oh, nobody's ever asked about it before." So, it was a whole period of BET that I didn't see. So, I have some catching up to do. But I do want to point out that Tim Grant, who's been out there chatting with us, is another big time HBCU legend. He was inducted to the Clarence Big House Gaines Hall of Fame. He was Big House Gaines assistant, so he is
yes, sir.
a big freaking deal.
Big deal.
So thanks for watching, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, I love Coach Gaines. He Coach Big House was also the golf coach at Winston-Salem. At least Big House would bring the golf team out there, and then he sit around and hold court while the team goes out and plays. Big House is a wonderful man. For sure.
And so we don't have those legacies like that.
No, we don't, man.
And that's the sad part, because I think Broska probably was prescient in that he saw that you have to have a place where people can really remember how it was, and these guys who blazed trails for a lot of these athletes, a lot of people. Because you say Shaq and Doug, two quarterbacks from Grambling State, Eddie Robinson.
Yeah.
It's just the legacy there. So people don't, that gets lost now because you have all these mid majors and all this other stuff. And ESPN3 is okay, but it's not ESPN,
Right.
And then people need that kind of visibility to see that there's quality football being played at other levels as well.
Absolutely.
Well said, brother. That is so well said. Tim, thank you, brother. Hey, great information. We appreciate you, man. Hey, check us out, because we will be back here. Not next week. We're taking next week off, but the following Tuesday we will be back here and have lots to talk about, I'm sure. But any final thoughts? I know I got one final
NBA champion, Nicola. How does that feel?
It's good. It's good. The job is done. We can go home now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Not my last time, Flynn.
No, that is
my last
Is it the
right
last
there,
time?
sir.
I'm sorry, Ricky. Is it the last time?
I think that is go.
Oh man, it has been a great hour, Tree and Tim. I appreciate you guys, and everybody. Y'all have a great week next week, and until then, everybody take it easy.
Hold up. I want to say, be kind, and be kind to yourselves, and be kind to everyone.
All right.
All right.